Hi, how are you? I was coming in to see you, actually. I heard that you have a contract negotiation meeting later today with North Creek Healthcare. Well, only if you want them. I don't know about you, but contract negotiation was always my least favorite part of the job. It took me a while to learn the ins and outs and for my legs to stop shaking under the table. I'm sure you'll do fine today. Do you have time to sit down and talk? Inez is still there, huh? Well, just so you know, she may act tough at the table, but she's really a sweet woman deep down. She loves talking about her time spent in the Peace Corps in Africa if you need a change of topic or something to soften her up a little. Yes. Just remember, it's called a negotiation process for a reason. Don't think you have to come to an agreement the first time you sit down together. If things don't seem to be going your way, you can always walk away from the table. Like I said, don't worry. Just see what they're willing to offer, and then let's circle back later to see how it went. I have some controllers in finance I want to drop in on too. You know us CFOs, we don't change numbers unless we have to. Good luck. I'll see you later.
So, thanks for meeting. As you know, our contract with you expires at the end of this quarter, so it's in both of our best interests to come to an early agreement. Of course, we have every intention of continuing another 3 years with you as our provider. Did you look at the proposed new contract? What's wrong with it? You asked us to propose an increase, and we did. I think 5% is more than sufficient. North Creek pays for inpatient care on a DRG or diagnosis-related group basis using the relative weights that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services use. As you know, the base payment for a case with a weight of 1.0 is $4,800. We're willing to go up 5%, which would bring that payment to $5,040. I'm sorry, but we are way different than Medicare. You know that. Our patients are much younger and they use up a lot fewer resources. There is no way that we can match that. It's just not going to happen. 5% is our best offer and our final offer. If you sign the contract, I can still make it out of here on time to catch my flight. You know your hospital needs the volume we bring you, and I know you're new to all this, so let's make it easy. Sign the contract and you'll look like a hero for getting an extra 5%. Plus, I make my flight and my niece's birthday party I want to get to back home. Yes? I'm not sure what that has to do with anything, though. Well, I don't see what good it'll do. I can't budge on this. Not at all. Let me know when you want to meet again. Thank you.
There you are. I really like this break area they've opened up. I love the fresh air. Rough start to negotiations? Well, don't worry. Some of the best outcomes have started out with rough beginnings. Take my marriage, for instance. Yes, but I actually said no 2 times when he asked me to marry him, before I finally said yes. Poor guy. I really put him through the ringer, but I know he doesn't regret it. Neither do I. So let's back up and take a look at the ways the hospital gets paid, okay? Your payers like North Creek determine the amount they'll pay for a specific health care claim by one of three payment bases. Do you know what those three are? No, that's not it. Try again. Right. A cost payment basis, as you know, uses the provider's cost as a basis, and it is something that is negotiated beforehand. It's the provider's ratio of cost to charges multiplied by the total charges for a specific claim. Right. Yours is on a fee schedule basis, not based on your cost at all, but on a predetermined payment amount. The third is price related, where your payer would pay based on a relationship to your actual prices charged to the patient. So let's say you charged $10,000 to the patient and you agreed on an 80% payment rate with your payer. You would receive $8,000 on the claim. Specific services refers to the payment method where services are not grouped, but dealt with on an individual basis. Bundled services refers to how you group the services provided to the patient and then how they are referred to in your claim. When you bundle, you group all of the services for a specific condition into one code, and then payment is based on an agreed upon fee schedule for that code. Well, why don't you do this? Take a look at the actual costs related to each patient type and then see how they compare. That would be a good starting point. As far as your pricing is concerned, there are many factors that influence pricing. The key ones are desired net income, competitive position, and market structure. I'll send you some information later by email, something that helps me get an overall picture on pricing, okay? And like I said before, don't stress out too much about your first round of negotiation. And don't throw in the towel. Negotiation is a marathon, not a sprint. Yes, there's a long way to go. And you need to pace yourself, okay? Talk to you soon.
It's good to see you again. No, not at all. So, are you ready to sign the new contract yet? That's fine. What did you want to discuss? I thought I made my position very clear in our last meeting. All we can afford on the inpatient rate is a 5% increase. You're sure about that? That's a huge leap from 5%. Wow, I'm really thrown here. I don't know how you can expect me to even consider that. Maybe you need to look at your pricing structure on these. I know we don't pay you based on pricing, but I'm sure you can make up the difference in other areas. To be honest, we know that your system holds only 40% of the market share, where your competitor holds 60%. This gives them more bargaining power when it comes to negotiating their rates. I'm sorry, but if we raise your rate any higher, our own market position will become compromised, and I can't afford to have that happen. We'll either get killed on our margins or lose market share, and neither outcome is acceptable. I've gone as far as I can go. If you don't have any other ideas, I think we're done here today. Unless, of course, you wanted to see pictures from my last Peace Corps stint in Africa. No, not really. See you next time when you're ready to sign.
You know, in a strange way, I miss the food here. It's actually really good. And you know it's prepared in a healthy way. Well, lunch is on me today, so order up. The chili fries are incredible. She still refused to budge, huh? Even after you presented the facts to her? Maybe it's time to consider the implications of not renewing their contract. You can use the ROI method to determine the reasonableness of your prices. First, you would compare your return on investment rate in relation to hospital industry averages. Next, you would look at reasonableness of cost by looking at two measures, Medicare cost per discharge and Medicare cost per outpatient claim. You can construct the hospital cost index and compare it to industry averages. Last, you would look at investment levels, measuring investment productivity by comparing net revenue in relation to net fixed assets. You should also compare these figures against the competition. In order to determine if you can adjust pricing, first look to see if you're reasonable with your current pricing structure. Ideally, you should be able to work out the difference in the contract with North Creek, not outside of it. Well, there's no doubt that your volume will drop if you lose North Creek. You'll lose market share, and this will take a long time to recover. The key is figuring out what percentage of volume you could retain. There are statistical data you can refer to for this, but for now, let's say you will retain 30% of current North Creek volume. Well, I took a look at the current contract that you sent me, and, there is some language that you should pay special attention to. It could have a huge impact. I remember that the appeal process could use some improvement in that it only allows for provider representation when it comes to reviewing a denied claim. If you give North Creek input as well, they may be more willing to work with you on the inpatient rate. Well, if they're not willing to budge on the inpatient rate, you could put in a clause that prohibits them from leasing their plan out to other networks. This will help you reduce your loss. Also, there's a clause in there that keeps you from charging patients for services outside of their plan. If you can remove this clause, you can increase your revenue to offset the loss due to North Creek's low inpatient rate. Why don't you see if she'll meet you informally to talk before your next negotiation meeting? You never know. Maybe outside the hospital setting, she'll be more open. Nice try. Like I've said before, you've got this. Just take it one step at a time. Come on, let's order.
Yes, and no problem at all. I didn't want you to think I'm all about business. So, what did you want to talk about? That's good. What were you thinking? That's an interesting thought. What sections did you want to discuss? So, you're hoping I'll relax those policies in order to help you make up the loss on your inpatient payments? I don't know. What about the section in there about the appeal process? Currently, if a claim is denied and then a doctor says it was not an error, we automatically have to pay it. Are you willing to let us have a voice in that review process too? If so, I might be open to relaxing the policies you want me to. Yes, but you can't afford to lose our volume either. Well, let me consider all of this tonight, and we'll hopefully come to an agreement in our meeting tomorrow. I'm glad we talked. Yes, thanks. Although I realize why you invited me to coffee now. That extra caffeine made me stay up half the night thinking about your new ideas. Am I really that bad? In the end, you know it's not just my decision. There's a lot at stake, and there are many people who have input here. Luckily, due to the time difference, I was able to have a long discussion with the decision makers this morning already. And here's what we're willing to do. If you give us a say in the appeal process, we'll let you charge patients for services outside our plan, but we still want to retain the right to lease out our plan to other networks. Okay, we thought you might say that, and it's understandable. We're willing to go up 7% then on the inpatient rate. 7% is as high as we'll go. Wow, you drive a hard bargain. I may take you next time I go. Okay, we have a deal. It's been a pleasure haggling with you. No, really. I think we worked something out that will be beneficial to both of our organizations for years to come. Well, now that that's done, do you want to see pictures from my last trip to Africa? I think I have some on my phone.
Hey, you found me in my new favorite spot. Yes, you sure can. From what you told me on the phone earlier, it sounds like you reached a good deal for both organizations. What did you learn about contract negotiations that might be helpful in the future? Right. So what are you trying to determine when you construct the hospital cost index and compare it to industry averages? Yes. So, do you remember what the three main factors are that influence pricing? Not quite. Try again. Correct. So, what about basic methods of payment for hospitals? Can you describe the cost payment basis? Exactly. So what are you going to do to celebrate your first successful negotiation? Thanks, but he's already negotiated a NASCAR theme trip for our vacation this year. It'll drive me crazy, but it's all part of the give and take of 25 years. Congratulations. Enjoy your time off. No problem at all. See you next time.